Awesome. Hi, everyone. This is Janai here. So this is our Cosmo Campfire for July. The Cosmo Campfire topic is regarding the role assignment manager. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to enter it into the chat and we'll make sure to do Q&A at the end so we can answer your questions as well. Our Cosmo Campfires are a monthly live session, where we focus on particular features within Mission Control. Um, As we take a look at the resource assignment role assignment manager, we'll be looking at one of the key features, our resource planner, regarding resource assignment. Just to introduce myself, this is Janaya here with Aprika Business Solutions. I have been a customer support rep and a part of the team for 2.5 years and based on the US side team. So been a part of the ecosystem for 3 years and a part of Aprika for 2.5 years. Just so that we are all on the same page with the flow of the program today, we'll be taking a look at what the definitions mean and what these resources, what they do and what they mean, and then doing a demo of what this looks like, and then we'll do some Q&A at the end. We'll be taking a look specifically in the demo how to set up settings and filters so that we can see the data that we want to pull. And then we'll also be looking at creating role forecasts records on the role assignment manager. Along with that, we'll be reviewing and analyzing double resourcing between role forecasts and actions as well. So what is the role assignment manager? The role assignment manager provides the ability to view all role allocations assigned to roles across a selection of projects for a specified period of time. It allows you as a resource manager to view and edit role forecast records for your roles and objects, and it also allows you to create new role forecast records for your resources. It allows you to compare the role forecast records to role scheduled hours for your roles and projects, and it allows you to identify capacity bottlenecks and bench allocation. So just taking a look at our definitions here, we see that role actuals, there's three objects that are dominant to the resource forecasting. We have the role actuals, the role allocations, and role forecasts. And so just so we're on the same page of what we're talking about allocations, the role allocations contain the daily hours that a role will contribute towards an action, whereas the role actuals contain the completed hours from the time logs and holidays. The role forecasts, on the other hand, contain the role's booking information specified by their skills or start and end dates, billable, non-billable hours, and any associated billable or cost rates. The double resourcing specifically is a new feature that is enabled in our assignment manager. And this is where a role has been allocated to a project through the role forecast records and through assigned action hours for either actions or checklist items. So this allows you as a resource manager's ability to drive and improve resource capacity and utilization between your projects and users. So we'll take a look at our demo now to see how that all looks like. We are on our Mission Control Console page. And as we take a look at this, we see that in order to get to the resource planner, so the role assignment manager is located on the resource planner. And you want to make sure in order to get here, you can go on our console page, the management pad, to get to the view planner, which is the resource planner tile. You can also get to the resource planner by selecting the app launcher, and you can type in resource planner as well. You'll be able to select the resource planner from here. And then lastly, you can enter the resource planner, and you could select the resource planner by navigating through the navigation bar up here. You can click on more, and it's usually out of the box that's towards the bottom, called resource planner. In this sense, I think it's been added up here. So when we are on the resource planner, we can see that um, the overview and the planner are out of the box. And so the great thing about the assignment manager is that before these two tabs were added, a part of our 1.75 major release, the planner, it didn't allow you to enter data like row forecast records or allocation records into the information on the planner itself. The assignment manager, on the other hand, allows you to enter the forecast uh, row forecast records, so you can enter this more easily into your roles and projects. Um, so in order to access the resource planner, you want to make sure your role allocation automation settings are enabled. And you can make sure to do that by going to your control pad console page. Control pad here, you can scroll down right to this tile here called role allocation automation settings. You want to make sure in order to access the resource planner that these settings are enabled first. And so you want to make sure to auto-generate role allocation records every 1 to 5 minutes. Um, Typically, we recommend the system administrator to be scheduling this and saving these settings. So making sure your administrator is the one to be saving these is preferred. Auto default is going to set to 25. And then did you also generate role actual records? So you want to make sure those two settings are enabled in order to see your resource planner. We also want to make sure in this sense to enable our double resourcing since we'll be taking a look at that. So you want to check this box and mark it as true as well. So this basically allows you to see all the action, the hours scheduled on the actions on your role forecast records itself. So there's been new fields added to the role forecast records, and I'll show that towards the end, in which we've enabled. So once you've enabled that, you can make sure to click Save here, and that allows you to see the resource planner on this page. In order to access these tabs, you have visibility doing so by your role record. So when you're on your role record, you can click the edit button here. So like if you refresh this page on the resource planner, you see that out of the box, I'm automatically going to be defaulted to this overview tab. If you're on your role record, you want to scroll down to the section that's named Resource Planner Settings here. Oh, there we go. The default tab right now is set to my overview tab. So every time I click on the resource planner, it's going to default to my overview. So every time I refresh it, it'll default to my overview first. Let's say that I wanted to always see my assignment manager, then you can default it to that way. And let's say for your roles, you don't want to give them access to the resource request tab. So you can also hide those tabs by marking them as false as well. So you can hide the overview or the assignment manager tab or the planner or the resource request tab. You want to make sure to save that towards the bottom, and that will save for you. And you can feel free to refresh your screen as well. Okay, so we see the resource request tab is now disappeared. And we see that the assignment manager is defaulted. So it's going to be the first tab that I see every time I click on the resource planner or refresh the page. So I'm just going to go back and show you how you did that one more time. Scroll down to the resource planner settings. And for any reason, if you didn't see, if you're on your role record and you don't see these settings, you want to make sure to that your system administrator is giving you these are new fields on the role record. So you want to make sure your admin has given you create access to these roles for you to edit and create edit these visibility fields. So you can edit and do that in order for you to edit on your role record. So if you have custom permission sets, you want to make sure to update your custom permission sets to add those for your roles, for the role object. Awesome. So we'll refresh that and we'll see right away. I don't think that took just yet. Yeah. I think it's still saving. There we go. So we'll see that tab get added back in. We're just looking at the assignment manager, the role assignment manager today. So this is where you'll find this feature. As we take a look at this, In order to pull the data into the assignment manager, you'll be asked to set up the settings and the filters first. And so automatically you'll see that the settings are set up in a way where the start date and end date is determined by the default date range. You'll have three picklist values of the week, the date, or the quarter month view. The quarter view, so let's say we're looking at the week, it's going to automatically pull this week and the end of the week. And so you don't have to enter the end date necessarily. If you are looking at the quarter, then it's automatically going to specify what quarter you're in and whatnot. For now, I just want to look at the month of July, so it's going to automatically pull me in. So let's say you're trying to select, maybe next month or July 14th, it's going to automatically give you the first of that month for the full month view. As we're in July, I'm going to take a look at the July month, and you can also group by the specific groups, looking at either all roles in your org, master teams, or by the functions that they're given. So obviously you see that my function is a project manager, things like that. I want to see all roles, so I'm going to show all roles. I'm also going to show you how to filter this even more, more filter the settings down even more. So let's say you have all your roles, but you don't necessarily need to see all your roles. You just want to look at specific roles that are part of certain teams. So I'm going to just show you how to create a filter. We're going to say this is our July. Um, we're just going to call it July projects in this sense. And within our July projects, we want to look at these roles specifically on the project manager team and the development team in this sense. Um, so we want to make sure we create that and that gets saved as well. We want to make sure to select the project that we want to view and then update. So you always want to make sure to create and update so that this filter setting gets saved. We're looking at the and or object. Obviously, you can filter between master teams or teams. I don't have all too many master teams enabled, so I'm going to just look at teams today and look at the project manager teams or any roles in my org that are either on the project manager team or if they're on the developer team. If you're looking at the and logic, then it's going to show only the roles that are only on project manager or developer team. So you want to make sure you want to set the or logic if you're looking at just any roles that are either on the project manager team or the developer. Within the project list here, you'll see that you can have a keyword search to enter those specific projects that you want to pull from. So let's say this is the Prika project that you want to find that's specified certain names or whatnot. Then you can pull that name up and select that as well. If you have numerous project names that are named similarly. You can also filter that down even more so to look at specific projects in um, a different color or like all the project filters, project fields here, then you can specify what project filtering you want to see. Please be aware that when you're selecting this filter, it is going, and maybe you selected these as well, it is going to take the filter that's being applied, the projects that are from the filter instead. So making sure that you're selecting either or. Right now, we're just going to select Preca web build and implementation build and the gold SLA. If you don't see the projects pulling up in this lower right-hand corner, it's because only projects in your org will show up if they're not templates or if they're not archived. So all projects will show up if they're not templates or archived, and then you'll see them populate. If you have a template project that you want to see, then you want to make sure to mark that as the template field as false on the project details, and then you'll see the project template, that project populate here. So we're going to filter this out for now, and then we'll get to our assignment manager data that we've filtered down. And you can also see that here by filtering down, see what data created the values down here. So if you wanted to readjust anything, you can do so as well. Right now, automatically, you'll see a few things. The component displays you'll see on the projects that we did obviously selected were the Aprika implementation build and the gold SLA. You can scroll to the right to specify that information. You'll see that on the y-axis, these are our summary fields on the x-axis here, I mean. And then you see these summary fields that add up the total like summary and utilization figures or whatnot. And then you'll see the project as well going forward. And you can scroll to see that. You can kind of determine that the projects are being separated by this little chatter icon. So you can chatter folks onto that project. You can also chatter folks your roles on the on the y-axis here to let them know, hey, you can start working on a certain project as well. So I'm gonna type in Jatnaya start project, and you can share that. So she'll be notified of this project on the project chatter feed for this project here. Um, And so that's helpful to see. And so within the project list view columns as well, you're able to see there's two, it's split into two. So you see the billable hours and percentages here, and you also see the non-billable values and hours that are assigned to the project or forecasted onto the project. To kind of just explain some of these icons here, let's say that you're editing a value here. Obviously, the warning icon is going to warn you, let you know that, hey, something's been edited. Do you want to save that? Do you want to undo what you did? So that warning icon is going to always remind you that, hey, something's been edited, right? Um, and so we're going to reset that. So that yellow icon is going to show you how to do that. We have the hint help tools here to kind of show you the specific formula fields. We have the progress bars here that are going to tell you whether your roles are under or over utilized. We also have our red progress bars, which is our double resourcing bars here that are going to explain that show you that there's double resourcing happening on these roles here. And so we'll explain that in just a second. We see that this green box here is highlighted because these two columns here called the non-billable percentages and the billable percentages here, they'll turn green if you have more than one role forecast record that adds in percentage values. So we see that the billable has a 10% here and a 40% here value. And so because of there's two role forecast records, it's going to show that it's a green value. So it's going to hint to you as a resource manager that, hey, there's more than 10% because it's green. So you can double click into that. Hey, it reminds you that there's more than one role forecast record adding to this value, which comes to 11 here. Um, Awesome. And then that way you could also create a new role forecast record here as well, anytime you wanted to add more values and whatnot. Um, to get started, you can also type in the specific role. So let's say you only want to take a look at Janaya's role here. You can type it in and it'll filter down to just, hey, I just want to only see her information. So to get started, the role forecast records are the white, kind of like the white roles up here, and then the action assignments are the gray roles. You can also filter that information down. So these are just the resource planner settings. But if you want to take a look at the manage assignment manager settings here, you can filter down to see, I want to hide my billable projects. So like these billable columns here on my projects, I want to hide maybe, if you know that you're just looking at billable projects, you can hide your non-billable columns. Maybe that doesn't pertain to what you wanted to see. And you can also hide your action assignment gray roles as well if needed. You can filter down the settings if you have numerous roles on per page. You can filter down, and I just want to see 5 roles at a time for all. And then maybe you only want to see a max of 5 projects. You can specify them here as well. So let's say you wanted to do that. It's gonna recalculate that and only show you the billable hours in this sense for your projects, and then it's gonna show you only the forecasted values. Right now, you've gotten rid of the action assignments, so anything that's been assigned to your actual actions has been removed. So that's how it's going to look like if you wanted to hide those values. We want to see everything for now, and so we'll add those back. To look at the summary allocations, the summary formulas and how they're all added up, um, Let's see. So right now we are looking at, let's say, Janai's information, for example. The function skill is going to obviously, these are the columns that we're going to be adding. So there's a minimum of two roles per resource. And so if you were to create more role forecasts assigned to specific skills, so if you were to create a new one and set that to like project manager, um, then you'll see that that one get added as well. So let's say um, you have a skill set for Janaya for project management skill for this project, since she's a project manager as well. I want to give her that those hours, 50 hours on this project, you can do so. You'll see that the 50 hours drop down right here, and you'll see the PMP certification or skill set, project manager skill set here be added for her role. So any skills, specific skills will be added as future roles added to the to this resource. So I'm just going to save that. Out of the hours of, obviously you can define her function and skill sets on her role record here. Her function, her skill sets are tied to her related list, skills and skill assignments and whatnot. And then the hours available are the 40 hours a week that she's set. So you see that she's set for 40 hours. The month of July, I believe there's 22, 23 working days. So it comes out to an even 184 for your full-time employees. Obviously, we see that Ryan is a part-time employee, so he's working part-time for 92 hours available for this month. This is going to pull from the role object to get 3 hours available. So the hours allocated, on the other hand, is going to show the sum of the billable total and the non-billable total columns from all displayed projects. So right now, out of her available time hours for the month of July, 184, she's forecasted 99 hours and 99.76 hours basically. So that's adding up these billable and non-billable values here for these two projects that we're seeing only. These billable and non-billable are rounding whole numbers, and so that's why you see a 0.76 right here on that value. The billable capacity, you'll see that that information and formula is calculated here. So the billable capacity is at 54%. The billable capacity shows the for the forecast role, it's going to be 54%, and it's going to calculate the hours allocated divided by the hours available. So hours allocated by hours available, and then the action assignments is going to show the action assignments hours allocated divided by hours available. Hours divided by the role forecast hours allocated. So that's going to give you this value to see where this is progressing at as well. The targeted hours is the billable target hours is 80%. Obviously, we can see that from my role record. She has a out of her 40 hours a week. We want to make sure that Janaya is also has a billable target of 80% each week. So she's at least billing 80% of the scheduled hours of the hours that she's working every week. The billable target hours, on the other hand, is going to pull from is sourced from the most relevant role availability for the start and end dates of this of the settings. So this will either be taken from the availability record or the role record from the hours displayed. I'm sorry, that's just referring to the billable target here. The billable target hours, on the other hand, is a formula based on the roles, the hours available times by the billable target. And so the hours available, you'll see that 80% of 184 gives you a total of 147. So she needs to, the goal is for her to reach this amount, right? So 80% of 184 is 147.2. The billable hours allocated, on the other hand, is going to add up these values. It's going to be the billable value. So it's not going to show the billable, non-billable value. Non-billable total is going to do the total billable value. So it's going to add up this value here for all your projects to give you this total billable hours allocated so far. The billable capacity is, as you can see from the hint box here, the help box, the forecast utilization percentage is capacity is going to show the billable hours allocated divided by the billable target hours right here to get you to 60%. So it's going to take these two values and get you to 60%. And then the action assignments capacity percentage is going to be the action assignments billable hours allocated divided by the role forecast billable hours allocated. So you'll see that here as well to get you 43% on the action assignments. So these action assignments are the hours scheduled actually that are hours scheduled actually on the resource per assignment that have been assigned to the user, the role. I hope that makes sense. There's a lot of information there, but it's pretty straightforward. You'll see the values add up as you enter the values in, which calculate upwards towards utilization of where she's scheduled at for the month of the total that she's given and whatnot. As we take a look at creating role forecast records, um, there's a few ways to create role forecast records. Um, and so you could create this on the generally in other features and on the role, let's say on the project page, on your on your opportunity page as well. There's a button called the Manage Forecast button, and so I'll just quickly show that as well. Um, and so if you're looking at your individual projects, let's say we're looking at our Preca implementation build, there's a button that can be added to the project page layout, a lightning button called Manage Forecast button. And you'll see the drop down right here, this little lower right hand corner called Manage Forecast. So you can also add this button, Manage Forecast, on the opportunity object or the project object, and you can manage forecast there as well per individual projects. Um, we're going to be creating role forecasts on the actual assignment manager. So that's another way where you can create role forecast records. You can also create role forecast records by going to the projects related list and adding the role forecast object down here onto your related list, and you could create a new one by creating those role forecast records. As we are on our assignment manager, we are creating role forecast records, kind of like just how I showed you here. Out of the box, you'll see the default fields in order to create these role forecast information records. So it's going to auto-populate, obviously, role Janaya, the project is going to be auto-populated. Um, and then the start and end dates, because we're looking at this month view, where the billable hourly and cost hourly rates are going to auto-populate from the project. And so you'll see those fields auto calculate. If you needed to override them, then you could do that as well to specify specific forecasting rates. Um, you can do that. Right now, we've given Janaya a total of billable hours of 50 for this project, since we know that we have been wanting to give her more hours on this project to do for the month of July. And then you could assign those non-billable hours if needed as well. So we've gone ahead and saved that. If you wanted to add more custom fields for this role forecast records, then you can do so on our role forecast object manager page. And so you want to go to the object manager in the back end as for admins, go to field sets, and you can click the assignment manager custom field set, which allows you to add those custom, the default fields, and you could add those new custom hours, like, and down as well. You can drag and drop them down, and let's say right now we're going to remove them. You can remove it off and click save. So that's how you could add those custom onto to edit the modal to access what other fields you want to specify. Let's see. So along with the role forecast information, um, so let's take a look at we've created this role forecast information. Um, out of if you're looking at the role forecast itself from here, you'll see that Janaya, that for example, this role forecast is created for Lexi. She's the role on this project. Out of enabling the double resourcing, you'll see that here. Check this box if you want the action role allocations to roll up to the role forecast to gain visibility on how many action hours have been assigned for your role forecast record, right? And so out of the box, you'll see that the role forecast page is going to give you, I've already forecasted Lexi to work 45 hours billable and 25 hours non-billable for this gold SLA project. That gives her a total forecast of 100 hours. These are the new fields that have been added to this role forecast object called assigned action hours and assigned action hours billable, non-billable, and then the total assigned action hours. So we can tell automatically right away she's forecasted to work 100 hours here. And out of that forecasted, she's already been assigned those 100 hours as specified as well. So it's going to pull up the action hours in this gold project that's going to tie to the forecast record since this role forecast is tied to the project as well. And it's going to show you that, hey, she has been assigned the work that she was forecasted to work onto action. So we're good to go. So make sure to add these new fields onto the for forecast page layout as well. And you can add that on the for forecast object page layout shown here. When we take a look at the role forecast itself, we showed how to create a specific skill for role forecast for Janai here. We can also tell that Janaya um, as we're taking a look at this more so, in this case, we can tell that there's a double resourcing happening with the red circle icon. Right now, you see that double resourcing occurs specifically when the progress ring appears red and that the action hours exceed the forecasted roll forecast hours. So the action hours have exceeded the roll forecast hours, so you're going to see it come up as red. You don't see in this scenario because the action hours are not been have not exceeded the forecasted hours in this sense. So this is going to show you as resource assignment manager that hey, she's assigned more than we've given her. That this reminds me that I need to either give recorrect and assign Gmin our developer more hours in this sense. So I'm gonna we see that his utilization, he's at 139 out of 184. We see that he can take on more work. Obviously, we're just looking at these two projects only. So maybe he is assigned other more hours onto other projects. At the moment, I do know that he is only working majority on this project, and I know that Sam is also a developer on this project as well. So I know that more work was supposed to be assigned to him. We just haven't gone ahead and to do that. So in order to be aware to kind of manage your resources utilization and capacity, I'm going to adjust this row forecast and adjust it to 110 hours. So in the moment you adjust the 110 hours, you'll see that the double resourcing is going to disappear and you can click save. So this it shows you on how you can correct those values and you see his utilization go up where he meets pretty closely to where his total capacity for the month should be at anyways. So though you see that red circle icon disappear. And then specifically on Sam Young's case too, you'll see that there's a red overutilization on his project or the pre implementation build. You see that we've over forecasted the amount of hours that he'll need. So this is going to remind you for he's being overworked in a sense, right? So he has 184 hours, but he's been allocated forecasted 200 hours. So this is going to show you that hey, can I move these hours elsewhere to a different project, or I can talk to the project manager and see that he's only been assigned 130 hours. Does he can I forecast him for a more reasonable amount? So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and give him 140 hours so that he's within his range, right? He's within his range so that he meets his utilization of his targeted hours of 147. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Let's say I've gone on and discussed with the project manager that, yeah, that was an estimation of his forecasted hours. I'm going to readjust that to a more reasonable amount to 140. Then you can go ahead and see that those fields corrected and that out of his 140, his billable target hours, he looks good to go out of the total amount given. So we see that out of the resource availability here, we're good to go for this project. We have our two developers working on the majority of the actions, and our project manager is also set to work 50% of the total here, which gives us 88. But we also know that this is adding the 50 hours on the billable side plus the 50 hours here. So out of the 147, I want to make sure that Janai is working at least 50% of this amount. So you see that that hour gets added here, and you'll see that that amount that amount so it's basically 33. So 33 plus the 50 gets you to 88, and that's where that value comes in. Right now, she has forecasted 88 hours versus she's been assigned 80 hours. So in that way, and that this is only looking at the billable hours, but you can look at the non-billable hours here as well. You can talk to your project manager, the project manager assigned to the project, and let them know, hey, to assign more actions to her, or can I use those 8 hours onto other projects that I can assign her to and whatnot. So that kind of gives you a better understanding of how double resourcing works, and to compare the role forecast record with the action role allocations forecast on your assignment manager. That should sum up what our assignment manager. So we'll go back and start looking at specific questions now. Let me just go back right here and we'll get started on what that looks like. I believe you guys see my screen. If you have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat below as well.
I have answered a few questions in the chat already, but you might want to, they're in the Q&A section. You might want to just read them out loud so everyone else can have an idea of what's going on. I think one of the first questions by Adam regarding billable hours and billable coming from to display that on the, and then answered, you'll see the 3 questions.
Gotcha. Let me just pull it up.
The first question is, are the billable hours and non-billable hours coming from the action records on the project?
Yes, and so let's take a look at that on the assignment manager. So if you're looking at the assignment action assignments, these values are pulling up from the actual project that we've already assigned them. So if we take a look at this Aprika implementation build, we'll see that these are all our, let's see, there's a lot of actions here. You'll see that these are all our roles assigned to different aspects of the milestones of the project. You'll see that Janai here is assigned to 60 hours on the first design IU, UI, and then she's designed 55 hours on the design wireframes. So so these values are going to pull from what she's already been assigned.
Can you show that on the resource planner as well, which hours are being pulled into? Yeah, so on the resource planner, just show where the gray line is the hours assigned.
Yep, so you'll see that the 80 hours billable here comes up the gray at the action assignments. So this is what you want to look at for that role. So you see 80 hours she's been assigned to projects, and then 35 hours here as well. And I believe it's coming up. Let's just make sure that's pulling up. 1 second. We have Jamin's hours, we have Sam's hours, Ryan and Sam here, Lexi's hours here. Oh, okay, sorry. These are the total scheduled hours here. If you wanted to see these two specific hours and you want to like click into them this way, so I've pulled these both up right here. So when you add those hours scheduled values here, you'll see that I've has 40 hours scheduled billable here and then 15 hours non-billable. And then you also see that on my second action here, you'll see the 40 hours scheduled here for the second action and then 20 hours here. So 40 is 80 and then 15 plus 20 is 35. And that's why you're able to see 80 hours signed here and 35 hours on the billable. Does that make sense? So it's going to pull those values in for this month for the pre-code build. Lexi, are there any more questions?
Yes, so the next question is what happens to the scheduled hours if you update them within the assignment manager? So in this question, I believe he's assuming that the hours that you're however, you adjust the action hours from assignment manager to adjust the role forecast records from either or the bottom line where the role forecasts are coming from the role record.
I'm sorry. Could you say that one more time? I wasn't. It was the connection was staticky. I couldn't fully hear the question.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it kind of goes in and out for some reason, but
Sorry about that. So the next question is what happens to the scheduled hours if you update them within the assignment manager?
scheduled hours for the forecast.
Yeah, so that's what you would explain is that only the forecast can be changed and that the action hours need to be adjusted on the projects directly.
Right. So in order to see that gray values on this action assignments be adjusted, you have to assign that for the project on your individual actions. So you want to make sure to set those values here, adjust them here going forward. So obviously we're only looking at the scheduled. This is where the magic will happen basically on each of your actions, making sure these values are going to be added and they all add together. So all the actions that are assigned to Janaya will roll up here and here for billable and non-billable actions, basically, or non-billable not actions, non-billable hours, basically. And then so the only way the assignment manager is only going to allow you to edit the role forecast records. So that's why the cells are going to allow you to add new cells to create those forecasted hours. Currently, it doesn't have the availability to edit the action assignment hours. Yeah. It's only going to allow you to create and edit the role forecast hours only.
All
Anything,
right. The
any more
next,
questions? Yeah.
okay, sorry about that. The next question is there a way to support forecasting without assigning to a project?
Currently, role forecasts have to be tied to projects, only because in order to calculate the values and the hours correctly, it'll need to be tied to the cost rates, the billable or the correct rates. Obviously, in this sense, it's already going to populate those project rates because I believe this is a standard um, project, and you'll see that right here the billable yep, it's fixed, so it's a standard billable rate, so it's going to give me a billable hourly rate of 250. So all of that information is already going to auto calculate for this role forecast record. So kind of like how I explained before, the only ways to create role forecast records are manually creating it on the project itself, through the manage forecast button here. But it's going to be tied. But the moment you create it here, it's going to be tied to this project. Um, and then you can do this on the opportunity page as well. The opportunity object, you can create the role forecast records on the opportunity, which you're forecasting onto your opportunities. And you can use automation to tie those forecasts onto the objects and things like that. But all this information is going to be tied to the project. So these are the roles on your project and things like that. You'll see the forecast and you'll see the roles allocation hours here. Um, So
Um, so
unfortunately, they have to be added. The forecast information needs to be tied to the project and whatnot. Go ahead, Lexi. Yeah.
I was going to mention that role forecasts can be created on a role record, on opportunities, and project levels. Um, so, if there's other places that you may want to manage the forecast, like the planner, or if you review the capacity, you could do so from other places within the resource planner as well.
Yep. So you see the role forecast records by displaying that. Let's say you want to look at the role forecast records. That way you can view them this way. It's just that you won't be able to edit them on the planner or the overview in a sense. You'll be able to see it, but not edit them. So the best way to edit them manually would be to use the assignment manager or to obviously go to the individual projects to manage them. You can manage them by specifically looking at the row forecast this way as well. If you're just looking at individual projects, this is just a more table view of it. Otherwise, that information is on the button, or if you were going to edit them, then yeah, you could edit them um, easily on here as well. Any more questions?
There is one more question, and it is there any documentation to explain how to create role forecasts against an opportunity, which I did provide the link as well.
Oh, okay, that's great. Yeah. So I'll just briefly show that if you're going onto your opportunities page, let's see, I don't think I have. Okay, Uh, so let's just go to this Burlington Textiles. Don't think it's been added as a related list. So you want to make sure to add the related list as a role forecast record. Um, and then you'll be able to create like a new one in this sense. It'll really just show up just like this. And instead it'll say role forecast and you can say new, click a new to be able to create new role forecast records tied to the opportunity.
There should be a manage forecast button.
Oh, yes, and that you can do that here as well, the manage forecast button. I'll show you how to add that real quickly. So if you go to the object manager button, so it's going to pull the object, the opportunities object right away. And so you can go to the page layouts to pull that button in. So right now, these are just the different various layouts that our different teams are looking at. I'm just going to look at the most standard object page layout. And you can go to the mobile lightning, and these are all the buttons available. You see the manage forecast is right here. So you can drag the button down. Oh, manage forecast. Here we go. You can add, not sure why it's, here we go. There we go. There we go. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Manage, okay. Forecast.
You have to hit the wrench over to the right.
Oh, hold on. Okay, thank you for that.
Mhm.
There we go. Okay, now so these are lightning buttons, so you can drag and drop this lightning button down here. Once you've done that, then it'll be added to the page. What else? Oh, I also want to add my related list as well. So once you go to the related list for your objects, you can put role allocate or role forecast, and so that will be added right there. So you're dragging those different. Maybe you want to add projects as well that you want to see tied to opportunities. So you can save that.
After that, can you go ahead and go back to the resource? We can clear up one other thing.
Awesome. So you'll see that you
Um,
added a forecast object and project object, and you can edit your managed forecast from the opportunity itself here. Yeah, so let's go back to the resource planner. Go ahead, Lexi.
So I was going to mention that you can also show forecasts that are created on the role record. So it does not have to be tied to a project. It could be created on the role record.
Mm.
But in some sense, you're going to want to tie it to where the work is going to be allocated. Um, So it would either be on directly on this role record that you would create a forecast, but you have to tie the work to something. So whatever you're forecasting.
So if you created, you're on the roll record for Janaya and you're creating it as you go by, you're forecasting her to work a certain amount of hours. You could tie the skill sets to that, and you want to make sure to tie it to either the opportunity or the project, and obviously define those specific the forecasted hours, um, or hourly rates and things like that. So you want to make sure to tie it like Lexi said, yeah.
Can you hit the role forecast ending in 00034?
Yep. So this is the one we created earlier, the month of July. We know that July has 23 working days, and so she's forecasted to work 50 hours that we gave her on this project, where she's a skill set of 50. PM skill set of project manager skills for 50 hours. And so she's scheduled to work. Obviously, we know that out of the assigned action hours, it hasn't actually been assigned onto the project yet. So this is why the double resourcing is these fields are important to enable on the role allocation automation settings. So you know out of the 50 hours we've assigned her, how many of those hours have been actually assigned to the action. Right now, none of them have been. So we see the billable hours per project and things like that, value, what this is projected to give us. And then we can go to that project. Um, let's see if I have that project. No. So we can go to that individual project. We see that she has those hours assigned, or like let's lower that. We see that Janaya has this design milestone. We see that she is assigned certain hours, but remember we added more forecasting, role forecast hours. So this allows me to go in and individually add those 50 hours, or I can create a new action that will tie those hours together. Let's, I'll have to create that on the stone, but I think this is this the last question, Lexi?
Yes, that was the last question.
Awesome. So I'm just gonna call it miscellaneous 50 hours. Let's spell this correctly. Miscellaneous work. So she's assigned 50 hours here. So we're gonna go ahead and give her those hours for that month. We're gonna give her this action is for the month again, and we're gonna assign her those 50 hours that were forecasted for her. So now she has a new action set up for her here. Oh, I didn't put her name. So you have to make sure to assign the action owner as Janaya as well. Okay, perfect. Actually, we're going to tie in the skills since this is pertaining to that project manager skill as well. Perfect. Um, right away, you'll see that the role allocations haven't generated because the role allocations are obviously controlled on the control path setting. So you remember that the frequency setting, we set it up for to auto-generate role allocation records for actions every 5 minutes. So we'll see that in the next 5 minutes for those allocation records to auto-generate. Right now, if you keep refreshing, it's not necessarily going to generate just yet. So you have to wait a few minutes. But if you wanted those allocations to generate, then I'm just gonna streamline it so it'll generate right away. I'm gonna it's already kind of like pre-planted, and so I'm just going to save those row allocation settings here. Distribute, and I'm going to save those hours. So you'll see that those allocations tied to the skill are generated, and then you can go to the resource planner in the sense to see how that looks like. We've already saved that filter setting, so it's always going to come back as we want it to. Janaya, you see that those 50 hours that were given to her here have been assigned. I've added 50 onto this amount here. So that's how we can tell. So now this is going to remind me that hey, 50 hours have been assigned out of the 88. But now you're in the zone where you're double resourcing again as well. So this is going to remind you as the resource manager that she is approaching her 184. So she still has time and availability to give, but that just means um, we want to forecast her to meet those amount of hours on the actual assignments. So we can do that here as well. I believe we um, do 50 hours, and then that will clear out the space with the double resourcing. So we have some hours that were already given here and here, but it wasn't enough to tie it to the action assignments. So when you add those hours, it'll show her that she's fully being utilized now, which obviously shows that oh, I think we created one of them, but yeah, now we created another one. So now she's meeting her capacity. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Awesome. Are there any more questions at all? Don't think so. So I'm going to share the screen again and just let you know of how to get in touch with us. You can reach us at support@aprika.com to submit cases or tickets regarding any questions that you might have. You can also submit questions to us at our website on our support page where you can submit those tickets and add in your email and information. Thank you for joining us for our Cosmo Campfire. Feel free to join us for our August upcoming Cosmo Campfire, which is referring to the resource reassignment manager. And so Pradnya will be taking a lead and showing the live webinar on that as well. I will let me know if you have any more questions. I'm going to go ahead and end our campfire.